What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rantin Review, and we are reviewing again, Death Note from 2007, the anime that is currently on Netflix that you can watch along with, or you can just watch this review. I will be adding. I noticed the last video that YouTube had a problem with the video, so I will be re-uploading episode 1 at some time in the future. But for right now, we're going to move on to episode 2, Confrontation. If you're just finding this video, or just finding this series, take an apple and throw it at the like button, throw it at the subscribe button, so the YouTube algorithm can know that these videos are something that you like, and you'll be able to see more of them. You'll be notified, and other people can find them on the internets and the YouTubes. I gotta put an S after everything for some reason. But anyway, let's get into it. Episode 2, Confrontation. I have no idea what the hell this song says.
Himself overwhelmed with happiness and satisfaction, knowing that at long last his dream had seriously come true. So what happened with your dad after that?
All right then, Yagami. Please recite this line for us.
Sure. Having finally made his dream a reality, he was overwhelmed, both by the magnitude of his achievement and by the joy and happiness that it brought him.
That was very well done. But I'm not surprised, of course. Absolutely flawless. Very good.
Oh God! See, this is another thing with this Death Note and with Light is that people keep pumping his head up with how brilliant and wonderful he is, and I think that's part of the problem with him right there.
Do this every day. It's so boring here. Hey, where you going? Hey, Light, are you listening to me?
Hey, Light.
Don't talk to me. Unlike you people can still hear me when I talk out loud.
Well, aren't you boring?
Hey, what's up, Light? We were just gonna head down.
Sorry, I'm a little busy today.
Got time for you
You don't
nerds?
have anything to do. Aren't you just gonna go home and hang out in your room as usual?
What are you talking about? Of course I have something to do. Yes, something very important.
He's got lots of people to kill. Look at this son
There
of
was
a
more
bitch.
violence across the city today. Another stabbing, this time at a restaurant in the heart of the Kabukicho district of Shibuya.
I love how Ryuk is just like chilling out, eating apples.
Hey, Light. I'm talking to you.
What is it?
Why are you working so hard?
No.
I can't afford to waste any time. I have a very small window to write names in this notebook. I only have from when I get home from school until I go to bed. I still need to sleep so I can maintain my average and stay at the top of my class. Obviously, I can't be sleeping in class.
Obviously.
Plus, there's all the studying at home and at cram
Look
school.
at Ryuk's just like,
Get
really,
too
dude?
tired. It'll start to affect my health and my mental performance. If I'm serious about trying to create an ideal world that's free from evil, then I need to make the most of my time.
Yes, he does.
Hey, Light, what's going on? Why?
Light is so... You can already see how meticulous he is. And that's the kind of the benefit, again, of him finding the Death Note. Because someone as meticulous as Light would only someone as meticulous as Light would do something like this.
I'd be careful if I were you. If anyone else touches that notebook you've got hidden in the drawer right now, they'll be able to see me too.
He waits till now to mention that important detail? Damn Shinigami.
What's wrong? Are you all right?
Of course Ryuk waited
It's
till
nothing.
then.
So, what exactly don't you understand?
I
What are you stuck
just love how he's just like...
Well, I think
He's
all
doing
of
the
it-
Naito stance. It's just
There
like,
have
yeah,
been
what's up,
52
man?
deaths that we're aware of, and
The
that's just in the past
ICPO.
week.
Every single one of them involved a heart attack.
They were all criminals who were either being held in prison or who were wanted by police for outstanding crimes. And I think it's safe to say there are other criminals whose deaths are unaccounted for.
We're treating this as an elaborate murder plot that's been carried out by a large organization.
If it is a large organization, I'm sure I'm not alone in suspecting the FBI or CIA.
I dare you to say that again!
Now, this is not the time to be
I
joking.
dare you to say that to my face, man. Another funny thing about anime here, and this is a long-standing thing, and there's been many studies on why this is, but most of the characters look Caucasian. And when somebody says something like that, basically that guy's accusing the United States of doing this, but they all look like Caucasian Americans to me. They all sound like Caucasian Americans, so how am I supposed to know the difference between, what countries are these people representing? They all look like sorry to say it, put it bluntly, they all look like a bunch of old white guys.
That's the case. It looks as if we'll have no choice but to bring in Al.
My boy!
Chief, what's this Al they're talking about?
Matsuda,
Right.
God.
I forgot that it's your first time at this conference. We don't know El's real name or whereabouts. In fact, we still don't even know what he looks like. However, he's managed to solve every case he's ever taken on.
This music.
And he's tackled some of the greatest mysteries this world has ever known. He hides in the shadows, but he's the best of the best. A last resort, our trump card.
But I've heard this Al is extremely arrogant. I understand he'll only take on cases that he's personally interested in.
That's exactly right. Besides, we don't even know how to contact him.
And that guy's supposed to be Russian. He doesn't sound Russian at all. It's Watari. I remember Watari. He was the strong silent type.
Gentlemen, El has already begun his investigation into these incidents.
Watari.
Huh? Who's that?
That man's the only known person who can contact El. Nobody knows his true identity either.
Ooh.
Please be silent. El would now like to address the delegates.
Yeah, shut the hell up.
Greetings to all of you at the ICPO. I am Al.
As would be designated by the letter.
That is all of the police organizations you represent throughout the world. You need to make the decision to fully support the investigation at this meeting. Also, I require additional cooperation from Japan's National Police Agency.
What? Why Japan in particular?
Whether the guilty party is an individual or a group, there's a strong possibility that they're Japanese. And even if they're not, we can be sure they're hiding in Japan.
What is all this based on?
Why Japan, you ask? I think I'll be able to provide you with proof of that after I directly confront the culprit.
A direct confrontation?
At any rate, I would like to set up the investigation headquarters in Japan.
That was easier to make than I thought it'd be.
I like going back on this too, because again, this is a rewatch, not a blind reaction. The fact that we didn't know who that was, and at this point in the story, we didn't know who that character was. I think that's again something that you picked up on the first time, but it's kind of clever how they did it here.
Huh? Does that mean you were able to hide the notebook?
Yeah, I hid it right here in this drawer.
But it doesn't seem to be particularly well hidden. You left the key in the lock.
That's the whole point. I intentionally left the key in the most noticeable place I could think of.
Best place to hide is always in plain sight.
Isn't that just a regular diary?
That's what it is. I'm guessing that once most people find the diary inside my desk, that'll probably satisfy their curiosity. But the real key is this. Just an everyday item that you'd expect to find lying around on my desk. A regular ballpoint pen. And
Not
all I
anymore.
need is
Nobody
this
uses
part.
pens anymore.
So that's the key?
Yeah. If you look closely, you'll find that there's a small hole underneath the drawer. Then you just insert this.
Ah, a fake bottom. The diary will distract most people, so I doubt anyone will find it.
But that's not all.
Oh?
Even if someone figures out that there's a fake base, I've set things up so that there's no way they could get their hands on the notebook. You see, once the ink reservoir is inserted, it acts as an insulator, preventing the flow of electricity around the circuit.
Light is so
When the
damn
fake base of the drawer is
paranoid
put back,
and a
this
genius
piece
at
of
the same
rubber
time.
also prevents the flow of electricity. However, if someone were to try and force the bottom of the drawer open, the circuit would connect, and that would ignite the gasoline contained in this thin plastic casing.
Get this. Okay, so he's so paranoid and so brilliant. This is what the problem is that he made a booby trap in his own desk with electrical currents, a vial of gasoline, and a fake bottom to his drawers. So in case anybody found this thing, they'd be burned, and the notebook would go up in flames, and there'd be no evidence. I mean, it's brilliant, but it's also crazy.
Instantly setting the notebook on fire. The way I've got it set up, all the evidence would be completely destroyed. if I'm ever questioned, I'll just say that I was hiding the real diary because I didn't want anyone to see it. It sounds like a pretty believable excuse. I mean, it is my diary after all.
I've heard of humans finding death notes in the past, and typically the biggest problem they have is finding a good place to hide it. But you, Light, you're probably the first to have given it this much thought.
Once again, somebody pumping up his ego. Notice that.
Though it's a pretty risky setup from the look of it. If you make even the slightest mistake, you could be badly burned.
Risky? You say the strangest things sometimes, Ayuk. This whole thing has been a risk since the very beginning, from the moment I obtained the death note. I'm sorry, but compared to that, this doesn't even qualify as a risk to me. In fact, it actually protects me. It all comes down to a choice. Would I prefer to be executed or deal with a little house fire?
Yeah, although there is some, of course, there's always plausible reasons for Light's thought process here, because technically he is carrying something around that's pretty much like a nuclear bomb. I mean, it probably could kill more people than a nuclear bomb. Or maybe not, but he's got something the equivalent of it. He's got a mass murdering weapon of mass destruction in his desk. It actually, when he says it like that, it does make a lot of sense to go through those links. But still kind of crazy, but we admire Light for his brilliance.
I wouldn't be surprised if the police were behind this.
No way! The police don't have that kind of power. Don't you know about him?
Huh? About who?
Kira. You know, Kira.
I wonder who's going to be killed next.
Kira, kill everyone. She a little psycho. Psycho.
You should check this out. Huh? Websites like this are popping up everywhere lately.
Yeah, all the crazy people want you to murder.
Kira the Savior. Huh. Sounds pretty cool. Is this about you?
Yeah. I think they've taken the name Kira from the English word killer. Can't say I'm too happy about that, but it looks like that's the name they've decided to give me.
That's what you
When I search the word Kira, I'm pulling up tons of sites just like this one. The media hasn't picked up on it. They're still calling this a succession of unexplained deaths among the world's most hardened criminals. But the people of the world can already sense that there's something happening. They know there's someone out there passing righteous judgment.
Righteous judgment?
Human beings are like that, Ryuk. Although this would probably never happen in school, let's say that students were asked to discuss whether bad people deserve to die. Well, you can bet that everyone would give the politically correct answer.
It's just wrong to kill people.
That's what they're bound to say. Of course, that's the correct response to give, right? Humans will always try to maintain appearances when they're in public. That's just how we are.
Very true.
But this is how they really feel. Most are too afraid to support me as they're worried about what others will think. Many would rather deny my existence. But on the internet, where you can remain anonymous, support for Kira is growing.
That's a little foreshadowing, because again, remember this anime was made in 2007, but the manga that it came from was even earlier than that. Right at the beginning, before social media and everything. And it's very funny how this is a theme in this anime. Much like Ghost in the Shell, kind of predicting the future many, many years ahead of it. But we see that today. Like, people will go on the internet and I've seen people in my own comment section and say things that they would never say to anybody if they met them in real life to their face. But behind the anonymity of the internet, they can. It's kind of interesting. The Death Note picked up on this way back in the early 2000s.
Maybe people are afraid to say it out loud, but they all understand what's happening. Someone's making the bad guys disappear one by one. Those who have done no wrong are cheering for Kira in their hearts because they have nothing to fear.
That's the same girl.
While those who have done wrong are on the run. They're forced to hide from an unknown enemy. This is how it should be. It's perfect. Everything is going just like I planned.
Yep, and you know, the second that you say something like that, you can almost guarantee that something's about to go wrong.
I head up an international police
L.
task
Taylor.
force which includes all member nations. I am Lind L. Taylor, otherwise known as L.
What? Who is this guy?
So this is how it all begins.
But sir, I don't get it. He's never actually shown his face before, right? Why would he choose to do it now?
It must mean L's serious about this. L, we followed every single one of your orders. Now it's time for you to prove what you said to the ICPO.
The mental game of chess begins.
Criminals around the world are being murdered by a serial killer. I consider this crime to be the most atrocious act of murder in history. I will not rest until the person or persons responsible are brought to justice. Kira, I will hunt you down. I will find you.
He seems certain he'll catch you.
That fool. He'll never find me. He'll have to get this first.
Again, Light's arrogance. Light's arrogance coming into play. Coming into play. Gonna bite him in the ass, too.
And as long as the police don't find it, there won't be any evidence to convict me. Which means that catching me will be absolutely impossible. I anticipated that the police would get involved and that something like this might happen.
Kira, I've got a pretty good idea what your motivation might be, and I can guess what you hope to achieve. However, what you're doing right now is evil.
Uh-oh.
You think
Triggered.
I'm evil?
Triggered. Oh, and the smirk.
I am justice. I protect the innocent and those who fear evil. I'm the one who will become the god of a new world that everyone desires.
Okay, like,
all those who would oppose that god, they
bro.
are the ones who are truly evil.
Bro, relax.
I guess you're just too stupid, Elle. Too bad. This could have been a lot more
I
interesting.
told y'all he was crazy from the beginning. Big giant words, Lindell Taylor.
I'll show the world what happens when you cross me. The entire world is watching. Elle.
Funny Ella's not saying anything right now on the broadcast. That's a little detail overlook there.
2.
He's just standing there for all this time. And dead.
What's wrong? You got nothing else to say?
So crazy. He is so crazy. Uh-oh.
I had to test this just in case, but I never thought it would actually happen.
Who would?
Kira. It seems you can kill people without having to be there in person. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't just witnessed it.
To be noted, too, and again, this is only episode 2. That person, even though technically we'll find out who he was later, Light had no idea who he was. Light thought that was a detective who was coming after him. He killed somebody just for having the nerve to call him. It was really because he called him evil and struck at his ego, and that was a pure murder right there, because he had no idea. That wasn't for any altruism or anything. That was because somebody dared to challenge him.
Listen to me, Kira. If you did indeed kill Lindell Taylor, the man who you just saw die on television, I should tell you that he was an inmate whose execution was scheduled for today. That was not me.
What?
The police arrested him in absolute secrecy, so you wouldn't have heard about him on TV or through the internet. It appears that not even you have access to information about these types of criminals.
He got you there.
Reuk.
But I assure you, hell is real. I do exist. Now, try to kill me.
Wow.
You bastard.
What's wrong?
What the hell is
Just
going
calling him out. Like, come on, bro.
Are you trying to kill yourself, Elle?
What's going on?
Look, it's Kira versus Elle.
It's Kira versus Elle.
This is freaky.
What does it?
Do it,
Wait a minute. The guy who's like, it's Kira versus Elle. Like, they're known people. Well, Kira is underground known, but they said at the beginning, most people don't know who Elle is. So how would anybody, like, it be a, no, you know, they're like, it's Bill Gates versus Steve Jobs, you know, it's like, I mean, which is kind of what this is, but it's funny.
Well, Kira, it seems that you can't kill me after all.
So there are some people you can't kill. You've given me a useful hint.
Yeah.
Let me return the favor. I'll tell you something that I think you'll find interesting. Although this was announced as a worldwide broadcast, the truth is, we are only broadcasting in the Kanto region of Japan.
That's how he got him.
I had planned to broadcast this message around the world until we found you, but it looks like that won't be necessary. I now know where you are.
Wow.
This Elle guy is pretty good.
The police treated your first killing as an unrelated incident, but in actuality, the first of your victims was a suspect in Shinjuku. Of all the criminals that have recently died of heart attacks, this one's crime was by far the least serious. Furthermore, his crime was only ever reported inside Japan.
I used that information to deduce this much.
You are in Japan, and your first victim was little more than an experiment, which means that you haven't been killing for very long.
He's crushing his ego. Crushing
We
it.
decided to broadcast in Kanto first because of its large population, and luckily, we found you. To be completely honest with you, I never expected that things would go this well, but it won't be too long now before I am able to sentence you to death.
Al has certainly lived up to his reputation.
He proved that Kira exists, that the deaths were murders, and that he is here in Japan.
Naturally, I'm very interested to know how you're able to commit these murders without being present, but I don't mind waiting a little bit longer.
You can answer all of my questions when I catch you.
Let's meet again soon.
He is. Light is pissed. Look at his face. That's what I talked about, man. He's just like L came in and just crushed his ego. Light was going around, I'm so smart, I know everything, and blah, 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 blah. I'm so clever, and how dare anybody challenge me? And L totally walked right into that whole trap. Gave up everything. Gave up where he was. Gave up how he killed people, what he couldn't do. Like, all from that one ruse. And that one moment of him just being just so egotistical and so full of himself that he slipped up. Aww.
He's going to sentence me to death?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sounds interesting. I accept your challenge, El.
Each of them has to hunt down the other without knowing the other's name or face. And the first one whose identity is revealed will die.
That is everything too. Is like there, we just saw it with the chief, and we saw it with Ryuk. There is that they do give exposition to it because yes, this story is for if you're not paying attention or for people who might not be that quick or whatever. The details can get lost, and this story is completely about the details because it is a cat and mouse mental game of chess. Who Light will make a move, L will make a move, and they have to kind of recap here. This is what happened. And this is going on because, a lot of times they tell writers and movie makers to trust in your audience. But for something like this, the rule is show, don't tell. But for something like this, as complicated as this plot is, you do kind of have to reinforce and kind of give a little bit of plot vomit, I guess, through characters just explaining what's going on so people can just kind of get it. I think of it as more as a recap. It is a little bit jarring, but it's necessary for this kind of a story.
Humans are so much fun.
El, Kira. I will hunt you down wherever you're hiding, and I will eliminate you. I am justice.
Justice. Interesting. So, yep, there we are with the latest episode 2, Confrontation for Death Note there. Love these episodes. Love rewatching them. Again, for those of you who are new to this channel, I haven't watched Death Note in a number of years. But I do remember I was really, really into it. But I have probably forgotten about half of the show since I last watched it. But I'm already back into it again. I'm already back as a hardcore fan because this stuff is just amazing. I love the... what we've done in this episode is establish now L's character as being the foil for Light. I didn't notice this in the last video, but they have set up here Ryuk and when the first episode they set up Ryuk and Light as parallels in different worlds of being bored. They're setting up L and Light here as parallels, opposites of justice, as they said at the very end. Again, kind of beating you over the head with it. But L has his form of justice. Light has his form of justice. They're both highly intelligent people. L has the advantage because he's more experienced. But we'll see with Light, who was feeling himself, like I said, through this whole episode. His teacher's telling him how brilliant he is. Ryuk is telling him how brilliant he is. His sister's telling him how brilliant he is. He's telling himself how brilliant he is. He got too cocky and acted emotionally, just straight up murdered somebody who he thought was a police officer, he thought was a detective. That was not I'm purging the world of all the bad people. That is him actually killing somebody based off of his own ego, and that somebody dared to challenge him, and it was a mistake. If he had let it alone, which if he was in his right mind and not so emotional, and that's why I think the smirk and this calling him evil and kind of just really just insulting Light was L's way of just playing him, and Light fell right into it, because what he should have done is not done anything. Then there would be nothing to go on. Then it would be another 3 months of them trying to play this video around and finding everybody. But and that's part of the thing too, when L reveals like, well, boy, this is easier than I thought it was going to be. All of those little jabs he's taking, because now he knows that he's dealing with somebody who's emotional. Light is emotional and will make mistakes when he's emotional. L's just going to pepper those in there and pepper those in there and pepper those in there. And Light needs to be on his game, because he thought it was so easy. Keep in mind, Light's a teenager, so he's highly susceptible to emotion. So this is where it gets started. But this, like the chief said, this is the beginning. This is how it begins. The mental game of chess between L and Light, which is one of the most captivating aspects of this anime. It's the thing that draws most people to it. It's the most entertaining thing about this anime, and I absolutely enjoy it. I remember it, but I don't remember all the little details, so it's going to be fun to go over the next however many episodes and see each episode, Light setting a trap for L and L setting a trap for Light, and see how they kind of have to go through this for one to catch the other one, because at this point in time, these two opposing forces cannot exist in the same world, and one of them has to go. And is it going to be Light or is it going to be L? We will find out as we continue on with our rewatch of Death Note here on the Rantin review. Again, if you liked this video, if you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button. Throw an apple at the subscribe button and the like button and the notification bell so you are notified when there are new videos for this watch along, this reaction, this review of Death Note from 2007. Again, I will see you guys pretty soon for more news, rumors, and watch alongs here on the Rantin review. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.